All right, strap in, everyone. We're going deep into NFTs and the metaverse. You've given us a ton of material to dig through, articles, social media posts, even pieces of conversations. And let me tell you, it's a wild world out there. We're talking digital ownership, virtual real estate, even pixelated avatars selling for millions.
Yeah, it really makes you rethink what ownership means in the digital age, doesn't it? Like in the real world, it's pretty straightforward. You buy a house, you get a deed, you pick up groceries, you get a receipt. But online, it's a lot harder to say who really owns what.
It's true. Feels like everyone's just hitting copy and paste all the time. So, how do you prove you own something unique online when everything can be copied so easily?
That's where NFTs come in, right? Non-fungible tokens.
Exactly. Think of an NFT, like a digital fingerprint for something online. It's proof that you own it, and it's all stored on the blockchain, this unbreakable digital vault.
Okay, hold on. The blockchain.
Yeah.
For those of us who are still wrapping our heads around it, could you break that down a bit? Sure. It's basically a huge global spreadsheet that everyone can see.
Yeah.
But no one can cheat. Every NFT transaction is recorded on it, creating this tamper-proof history. So unlike a concert ticket that could be fake, an NFT is totally unique, and you can always verify that it's real.
So it's like a digital fortress protecting your virtual treasures. I'm starting to get why people are so excited about this. But honestly, some of these NFT stories are pretty mind-blowing. The one about CryptoPunks, for instance, that one really blew me away.
For sure. CryptoPunks are the perfect example of how NFTs have captured people's imaginations.
Yeah.
And wallets. These little pixelated avatars, they sold for practically nothing at first, and now they're traded like they're precious jewels.
Yeah, like CryptoPunk, hashtag 9998, sold for $5.8 million, more than some actual masterpieces hanging in museums. But what makes one pixelated face worth millions while others are basically worthless?
That's a great question. A bunch of different factors make an NFT valuable. Rarity is a big one. Some CryptoPunks have these unique attributes that make them stand out. Then you have historical significance. The early adopters, the influencers, they usually own the most sought-after punks. And of course, you can't forget good old supply and demand.
So it's like art history, celebrity status, and a digital gold rush all rolled into one. But it's not all about pixelated faces, right? This NFT thing is bleeding into the metaverse too, isn't it? The source material mentions this virtual world, the sandbox, where people are buying and selling virtual land using NFTs.
The sandbox is a great example of how the metaverse is blurring the lines between the digital world and the real one. Imagine this massive online world. You can own a piece of land there, build your dream house, even go to virtual concerts.
Wait, buy virtual land. Why would anyone spend money on something that doesn't even exist in the real world?
I know, it sounds strange, but think about it. The metaverse is becoming like this digital extension of our lives. And just like in the real world, location matters online too. Virtual land in high-traffic areas, near popular events, or even owned by celebrities. That can become really valuable for businesses, artists, even just regular people who want to stake their claim in this new frontier.
So are you saying I could buy virtual land next to Snoop Dogg's digital mansion? I gotta admit, that's pretty tempting.
Exactly. I know it sounds crazy, but it's happening. Businesses are buying virtual real estate to advertise. Musicians are hosting concerts in these virtual stadiums. And people are investing in digital property, hoping its value will skyrocket.
Wow, so it really is like a digital gold rush. But this whole thing also makes me wonder, are we just recreating the same inequalities in this new digital world? I mean, if only rich people can afford to buy the best virtual land, isn't that just creating a digital divide?
That's a really important point. We can't just copy the same systems from the real world without thinking about the consequences. The metaverse has to be accessible and inclusive. That's the conversation we need to be having as this technology grows.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, for sure. And it highlights how NFTs and the metaverse are making us rethink a lot of things, not just ownership, but accessibility and fairness in a digital space, too. But, this tech goes way beyond virtual art and real estate.
Oh, really? Now you've got me curious. What other uses are there for NFTs?
No. Imagine a world where your event tickets, IDs, even property deeds were all backed by NFTs. This source material talks about how this could totally revolutionize security and cut down on fraud in all kinds of industries.
That sounds super practical, but I'm not sure I get it. How would an NFT make my driver's license more secure, for instance?
Okay, so picture this. Your driver's license as an NFT would basically be like a unique, tamper-proof digital record stored on the blockchain. You couldn't forge it, you couldn't copy it. It would make identity theft way harder. Oh, okay. I see the appeal there. But are there any challenges to actually using NFTs in the real world?
Of course. Like with any new technology, there are bumps in the road. One of the biggest ones right now is that there aren't really clear laws around NFTs.
Yeah.
Regulations are still trying to catch up, and that can make things uncertain for businesses and people who want to use this tech.
Right, so it's a bit of a legal gray area for now. What about security online? I've heard some scary stories about people getting their entire NFT collections stolen by hackers. Is that a big concern?
Absolutely. Security is huge in the NFT space. The blockchain itself is super secure. But there are other weak points. Like if someone hacks your digital wallet where you keep your NFTs, they could steal them. So it's really important to protect yourself. Use strong passwords, turn on two-factor authentication, and be careful about those phishing scams.
It sounds like you need to be just as careful in the NFT world as you are in the real world. So, we've talked about the good and the bad. But where does all this lead? This source material shows these two very different views of the future of NFTs. One's super optimistic, the other's a bit more skeptical.
It's like two sides of the same coin, isn't it? On one side, you have the people who believe NFTs are going to revolutionize everything. They think they'll democratize art and ownership, give creators more power, and help build a fairer and more vibrant metaverse. They see it as a force for good, breaking down barriers and giving everyone a chance to join this new digital economy.
That sounds amazing. What about the other side? What are the skeptics worried about?
They have some valid points, too. They're worried that NFTs are just a bubble, all hype and speculation, ripe for scams and manipulation. They think this technology might actually make inequality worse, creating a digital divide where only the rich can really participate.
So it's kind of like the Wild West out there, lots of excitement, tons of opportunity, but also a good amount of risk. How do we navigate this whole new world?
That's the big question, right? I think the key is to be cautious but curious. Do your research, understand the risks, and don't invest more than you can afford to lose. We need to promote responsible innovation, where we have thoughtful regulations and educate people about the risks, along with all the technological advancements.
It's a fascinating and complex landscape, that's for sure. But one thing's clear, NFTs are shaking things up. They're making us rethink how we value things, how we own things, and how we interact with the digital world.
No doubt about it.
Oh.
And it's happening so fast. This source material even suggests that this whole emergence of NFTs and the metaverse, it's giving our generation a chance to reshape the whole digital world.
Now, that's a powerful thought. It's like we're standing on the edge of a digital revolution. But how does this revolution actually affect people in the real world? The source material also talks about play-to-earn games, where people can actually make money by playing video games. Is that even real?
It's not science fiction. It's happening right now. These games, like the sandbox we talked about earlier, they're built around this idea of digital ownership. Players can buy, sell, and trade in-game items as NFTs. And they can earn cryptocurrency by doing tasks or winning competitions. It's blurring the line between work and play. And for some people, it's even become their main source of income.
Wow, so it's like turning your love of gaming into a side hustle or even a full-time job. But are there downsides? I mean, are these games sustainable? Are they actually good for the players?
Those are great questions, and they highlight why we need to think critically about these play-to-earn games. While they offer some amazing opportunities, it's important to remember that they're still businesses. They're designed to make money, so you need to do your research, understand how the game's economy works, know the risks, and don't fall for those get-rich-quick schemes.
So, it's just like any other investment opportunity. Be careful, do your homework. This source material also mentions this company, RTFKT. They're making virtual sneakers that people are buying for thousands of dollars. Virtual sneakers. Is this for real?
It sounds crazy, right? But it shows how the lines between the physical and digital are getting blurry. These virtual sneakers are status symbols in the metaverse, just like designer sneakers in the real world. And because they're NFTs, they're unique, and you can verify they're real, which makes them even more exclusive and desirable.
So if the metaverse really does become this immersive digital world where we spend more and more of our time, are we all going to need virtual wardrobes full of NFT clothes and accessories?
It could happen. A lot of big fashion brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, they're already making virtual products for the metaverse. They see it as a huge new market.
It's wild to think about the possibilities, but with all this talk about virtual stuff and digital identities, it makes me wonder, what does this mean for work?
That's something a lot of people are trying to figure out. Some experts think the metaverse is going to change the way we work completely, offer new opportunities for remote collaboration, virtual training, even entirely new types of jobs.
So instead of going to the office, we could just put on our VR headsets and teleport to virtual offices.
Exactly. Imagine having meetings in a virtual boardroom. working on projects with people from all over the world, even going to conferences without leaving your house.
Sounds like a dream come true for introverts like me. But what are the risks? Are there any downsides to consider?
Like with any new technology, there are potential pitfalls. Things like data privacy, cybersecurity, and maybe even more isolation are all valid concerns.
It seems like we're on the verge of a huge societal shift, with the metaverse potentially changing everything, from how we work and play to how we connect with other people. But with all this talk about the metaverse, I'm curious about the future of NFTs in the real world.
That's a good question. A lot of the focus right now is on the metaverse, but NFTs could change a lot of things in our physical lives too.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, imagine using NFTs to make sure luxury goods are authentic, or to track the history of a piece of art, or even to streamline supply chains for businesses.
So it's not just about owning virtual sneakers, it's about knowing that real-world items are genuine and where they came from. That's amazing. But is this actually happening anywhere right now?
Oh yeah, for sure. There are industries that are already trying out NFTs. For example, some luxury brands are using NFTs to fight counterfeiting. When you buy something, you get a digital certificate of authenticity that's linked to your purchase. It's proof that you own it and shows where it came from.
That's a game changer for industries that are struggling with fakes and knockoffs. What about other applications outside of luxury goods?
The possibilities are endless. Imagine using NFTs to track where food comes from, making sure it's safe and transparent from the farm to your plate. Or using NFTs to manage and verify medical records, so patients have more control over their own health information.
Wow, it sounds like NFTs could be a part of almost every part of our lives, both online and offline. This is a lot to take in. It really feels like we're on the edge of something huge here.
Yeah.
This whole conversation has been mind-blowing. But with all this potential, I gotta ask, what does this mean for us regular folks? Should we be rushing out to buy NFTs and virtual land, getting ready for life in the metaverse?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Hmm.
Honestly, there's no easy answer. The NFT and metaverse world is changing so fast. I think the best approach is to be curious, but careful.
So no need to panic buy a virtual yacht just yet.
Uh-huh, exactly. It's more about understanding the possibilities and the risks. Do your research, check out different platforms, maybe even try it out with a small investment if you're feeling adventurous.
Sounds like good advice. So if the metaverse really does become this massive interconnected world everyone's talking about, what role will NFTs play in all of that?
That's where it gets really interesting. Imagine a world where your digital identity, your virtual stuff, the things you create, it's all connected to NFTs, creating this unique experience just for you.
So instead of just watching and consuming content, we become active participants, creators, even owners in this digital space.
Exactly. It's about going from being a spectator to a player in the metaverse. Your NFT collection could represent your digital identity, showing your interests, your values, what you've achieved.
Like a digital fingerprint that changes with you as you explore and create in the metaverse. That's pretty amazing. But it also makes me wonder about the downsides. What about privacy? Could NFTs be used to track everything we do in the metaverse?
That's a really valid concern, and it's something we need to think about as this technology evolves. We need transparency and control over our data. We need to push for systems that protect privacy and let users manage their digital footprint.
So it's all about finding that balance between innovation and responsibility. It's like we're making the rules for this new digital world as we go.
Exactly. That's what makes this such an exciting time. We have this chance to shape the metaverse, make sure it reflects our values and what we want it to be.
It's both scary and exciting at the same time. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious, stay informed, and stay involved. NFTs and the metaverse are still pretty new, and they're changing all the time. If you keep learning and exploring, you can navigate this new world and maybe even help shape how it develops.
Well said. You've given us so much to think about, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the conversation. So to everyone listening, if the metaverse does become a reality, will you be an early adopter, a cautious observer, or somewhere in between? How will you use this technology to create, connect, and explore? The choice is yours. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of NFTs and the metaverse. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in this digital age.